Uh, Happy New Year, everyone. And so I actually enabled the attendance for you guys in the section in the session for the other guys. So I removed all the attendances that were marked previously. So please mark your attendance now. Okay. Simply removed all those that came in before the time. So if you did mark it at that time, that won't be counted. So you have to mark it now. Now that the lecture has started. And happy new year to everyone. Yeah, Pritish, actually, there were some issues at my end in the morning. I mean, I got late because of some weird reasons, and so basically we had a house guest at in the morning at 9 a.m. But yeah, so some things got delayed, and then I actually figured out that the emails that I have sent to you guys, okay, the attendance emails. So there is something weird happening. When earlier, what I used to do was I will just do a send from Google Forms, and you all will get an email that the following form has been shared with you. This is basically how we have been taking attendance for so long, right? I never sent you a different email for attendance, um, but uh, I realized that yesterday also I sent a form, but and it is being shown in my sent mail. Okay, so it says that the mail has been sent to all, but somehow you guys are not receiving that email, right? So I think you guys didn't receive my email for filling the form yesterday. You guys probably didn't receive the email to fill the attendance yesterday. So there is something weird going on, right? I mean, it is being shown in my sent mail, but it is not going to you all. So just to figure it out, I had to, I in that confusion, I sent the wrong email to wrong people, and then I enabled it. But yeah, now you have to submit your attendance now. Okay, so even if you submit it in the morning, you still have to submit it now. Okay. Okay. Just a minute. So we are going to discuss lecture 4.1 today, and just a minute. By the way, all those students who would like, who are in requirement for a VM. See, I don't know whether I can fulfill my promise or not. I'm trying my best. Uh, you know. To get you guys some VA. So those students who have not been able to arrange any other solutions, please you contact me. I'm trying my best to find some solution for you guys. I'll have to talk to the authorities. Have to figure out what they can do. I figured out that my own personal account will not be able to handle so many. If it was like up to 5 or 6 people, I would have given you VMs from my own AWS account. but there are, I think I already have like around 15 or 16 till yesterday. So clearly, I cannot give all of you a account from a VM from my own account. So I have to request the institute. Um, so I will do that today. But as I said, I won't be able to give you a VM probably in this lab. But in from the next lab onwards, I'll try my best to arrange some VM for you where you can go and practice, and where you can learn whatever you want. So I'm really sorry, but please somehow manage for this lab. I will definitely try my best to arrange something so that at least post midsem everything is when is your midsem? I think on 15th or 16th, something like that, right? Have you guys checked? Oh, you guys would not have gotten the sheet, but you still know the schedule, right? When is the midsem scheduled? It starts from 18th. Okay. So 18th is what, Monday? Okay, I have to check the calendar. Hmm.
Yes, sir. Monday.
Okay, okay. So, so basically, and by the way, we will have to do. I mean, unfortunately, I don't really. Yeah, Navdeep, I'm really sorry. That is all I can say. I have asked my TAs to uh, send you the marks, but I can only push them so much. I cannot push them beyond that. I will send one more reminder to them. Uh, so actually, Rohit, it's not really a problem to actually. Yeah, let me say this out aloud. The only thing that you want in order to access AWS's free tier is a credit card. Okay, so all of those people who are in need of a VM, if you can manage a credit card, then your job is done. You can simply go and get a VM on AWS. You won't be charged anything. Okay, just keep this in mind. AWS does have a free tier for 12 months. So and they give you 750 hours per month. So if you divide it by 30, you get basically 25 hours a day. So you can understand that you can start a VM and keep it running in AWS, and you will not get any bill for it. um, uh, so Avina has told me that Alibaba Cloud needs Paytm number. um, so is it UPI ID, Avina? I mean, I'm not sure what is a Paytm number.
Sir, we have to link our Paytm wallet there,
Acha.
and
Okay, okay.
it will charge us after an year. So if we cancel the free trial before an year, we will be fine.
Okay, so guys, yeah, I mean, I am trying my best. Don't worry, Alex. Right? I mean, I have only used AWS. There are many other cloud services, by the way. AWS is kind of the industry standard. Almost all the industry workload works on either AWS or Azure. So I have worked mostly on AWS. So it is very, very, very possible that my knowledge about these free solutions is incomplete. So if any of your friend suggests you some free solution, please listen to them. I'm not the expert. The idea is that you should have some place where you can run GCC and GTB, and that you should be able to save files and transfer files. As long as you have that solution, it is fine, right? And for everyone who is not able to arrange such a solution, I am trying my best to arrange it for you, but unfortunately it will not be possible by this lab. Okay, so this lab, again, you'll have to find out a way again. So use your resources, use your skills, talk to your friends. If any one of them have a credit card, so basically if you use one VM, at least two people can easily work on it, right? So you can have two different accounts on the same VM, and you can code independently without any problems. At least two. That is a T2 micro. T2 micro is 1 GB RAM and one virtual CPU that can easily cater to two. I think it can probably also cater to three simultaneous users. I've never tried this kind of load testing, but so basically, if someone can create one VM, that VM can probably be shared easily by two or three people. But because the numbers are okay, let me check. I mean, I think the numbers are already beyond what I could have done. Otherwise, I would have simply given you guys a VM from my own account. So the idea is, those people who have credit cards, they can create accounts on AWS. They won't be charged anything. They'll probably charge something like 1 rupee, 10 rupee, something like this, just to check if your card works. But you will not be charged anything for creating one VM for 1 year. You will not be charged anything for one VM for a year. So you can use your friend's help to get a VM on AWS. The idea is, please try to find a solution. I do not have so much of bandwidth to uh, you know take care of each one of you. I try my best, but I cannot. So you have to help each other out, right? Abhinay and Pranav has already helped you guys, but I understand that their own solutions will have some problems, right? Any machine cannot entertain more than certain number of users. So if so many people try to access them, then it will not probably not work. So let us try to find out more solutions, guys. Try to help each other out. By before midsem, I will try to find a solution that is from institute, but till then, please try to help each other out. Okay. And okay, so let's start. And by the way, from today onwards, yeah, one more thing. The evaluation scheme that I sent to you guys in the lecture 0, the first PPT that I sent you with my first email, I came to know that that evaluation pattern is not feasible, because in Triple IT Lucknow, you are supposed to be given two different grades for this course. Okay, so you will get a grade in lab and you will get a grade in theory. Lab work, that whatever you are doing in the lab, those exams, uh, their grade cannot be used to give you a grade for the theory part. Okay, the theory grade will have to come from other things, like your mid sem exam, your end sem exam. We will start quizzes from probably this Wednesday. uh, no, lab n minus 3 will remain, Anukul. It's just that all those marks that you will get, they will contribute to your lab grade. Okay, so you will get a different grade in lab. It is similar to your CBSE and ISC thing, right? You have a different. I mean, in my time, we used to have a 30-mark practical for physics, chemistry, and things like biology, and then there was 70 marks theory paper, right? So the same thing is here, that your lab thing, okay, that will be a different grade. Those marks will not club up with other marks that you will get. Okay, so you will get a different grade in lab, and then your theory grade will be dependent on mid semester, end semester exams. I'm not giving you any assignments because I think I'm already stressing you guys beyond limits. So I'm not giving you any assignments. But if I was giving you any written assignments, that would have contributed towards it. Attendance will contribute towards it a little bit, but I assume everyone will get good marks in attendance because I never really check, right? Whomsoever has sent me an email saying I was present, please mark me, I have simply marked, right? I have never said no to anyone. The only queries I have said no to are those vague queries. I was present in all the classes. I said no, that I can't handle. You have to send me exact dates, right? That on this date, please put my attendance, and then I will put it. So the attendance will add to it. Quizzes will contribute to your theory grade. We will start quizzes from this Wednesday onwards, probably, if I am able to create a quiz by then. So the idea is, I will have to evaluate your evaluation pattern. Yes, Nehal, that is what I was coming to. There will be marks for class participation. So now I have to keep track of it. So one thing that I am going to keep track of it is, whomsoever I call, and so whenever I call these names and people say I'm not ready, now you are going to lose marks for it. Okay, so if I call your name, if you are caught in the random number generation process, but you refuse to be a shepherd, you will lose marks for it. And even if you become a shepherd, um, uh, yeah, actually the point is, uh, some it is the overall issue is that I have to somehow
Uh,
make up. Yeah, go ahead. Someone was saying anything. Okay. So yeah, I have to reevaluate my overall evaluation scheme, right? I will tell you what evaluation scheme it is. It's just that I have to give you a separate grade in lab and a separate grade in theory. So I will have to, and the theory has to be graded out of 150. The lab has to be graded, I think, out of 100 or 200. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. So whatever it, I think it is out of 100. The lab is out of 100 and the theory is out of 150. So I have to devise a mechanism to make up 150 marks from your mid sem, end sem, your quizzes, your attendance, and your class participation. So anyhow, I will send you a breakup soon. I have to to make up that breakup, make that breakup again, and I'll send it to you. But basically, that lecture zero thing that I sent to you, that is incorrect. That way I cannot grade you. In IIT Kanpur, it is opposite, right? I mean, you get a single grade in a subject. You don't get separate grades for lab and theory. You get one grade for the subject, but here it is different. It is one grade for lab and one grade for system theory. Anyhow, so I will send you that. Let us start with the class straight away. I think we have already wasted a lot of time. Sahil, I don't know what is better, to be honest. Here probably, um, you'll have to do well in both it to get good grades, right? In theory as well as in practical. There it is basically, if you are doing well, just let us say if you do well in labs itself, but you are not so good in exams, even then you can get a good grade. And this to me seems fair for programming subjects, right? So it is possible that you may not be able to write the answers correctly in a sheet, but if you are doing well in the labs, you will get a good grade. That is what happens in IIT Kanpur. That if you perform better in either, right? If you do well in theory or in practicals, you still get a good grade. But here you have to do uh, you know equally well in both. This is the idea. So anyhow, it's good, it's bad, it's difficult to comment on what is better, but basically it's a different system. So anyhow, let me start. Yeah, first of all, who would like to be shepherds? Are there any volunteers who have not done it before? Who have not done it before? Yeah, I guess all of you have. They Anukul, you've been one. Arunim, I think you have been two. Jay, you have been two. I guess. Um, Ud Udbhav, have you done it before?
No, sir, I
Uh,
haven't.
so Udbhav is one, and you are from CS1 or CSAI?
CSAI, sir.
Okay, so because I have to start making notes of it now, Udbhav. Okay,
Udbhav.
Udbhav. So
Udbhav.
Udbhav is, yeah, I got your name. Um, Now, okay, I have so many requests today. Okay, so you guys all do it for marks, is it? Now that you know it is for marks, then I'm getting so many volunteer requests. Okay, uh, uh, so okay, I have to scroll up right now. Avinash Kankutil, Ka, sorry, I'm Kanuk.
Kanukuntla, yes.
Yeah, I'm Avinash Kanukuntla. Have you been a shepherd before?
No, sir.
Okay, so you are one more. You are from CSAI.
Yes, sir. CSA.
Okay, Avinash. Yeah, you got one more shepherd today. And by the way, it's not really that those who are not becoming shepherds, they will not get marks. It's just that you will get some default and others will get more than you. This is the idea. Okay, it's not like I'm not going to give you any marks, but yeah, uh, but yeah, refusing to be a shepherd will fetch you negative marks. Okay, so if I call your name and you refuse, that is bad. Okay, it's okay if I don't select you, but you cannot reject me. Okay. So okay, so whomsoever, I don't know, like, now it's too many names for me to so okay, from here onwards only those people should write me who have never been a shepherd before, from here onwards. who have never been a shepherd before, please, then you can volunteer. Now you can type. I'm not going to read whatever the Devaryan, have you been? So you have not been a shepherd before, is it?
No, sir, I haven't been.
And which section are you from?
Sir, CSAI.
CSAI. Okay. So I get one more. Okay. Now who's next after that? Pulkit. Pulkit, have you been a shepherd before?
I
Pulkit
was,
Gupta.
sir, I
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't there.
You were or you weren't?
Sir, weren't.
Okay, okay. Navdeep, you can. Navdeep, you can. Okay. Um, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. So I have one more, I guess. So Pulkit is there. Pulkit, which section are you from?
Sir, CSAI.
So I need one from CS also, yeah. Like, okay. Let me first mark you, Pulkit Gupta. Okay, I got your name. I need one from CS now. Navdeep, which section are you from? CSAI. I need someone from CS. Who is from CS and has not yet been a shepherd before? I'm seeing the CS guys are really a bit okay. In the other part, maybe you guys feel lonely because you've been split up in two. Uh, so acha. Okay, Vivek, I got it. Okay, very good. So I'm assuming this is true. I have never checked your sections, but
Yes,
I
sir.
assume.
In this batch we have already separated. So that's why you are getting less interest in this.
Okay, I agree. I agree. Okay. So okay, then I'll pick one from CSAI itself. Nikhil Dev. I know I'm just Nikhil, have you been a shepherd before? Nikhil Dev.
Hello, sir. I'm audible.
Yeah, yeah.
No, sir. I have not been in Shepherd.
And which section you are from?
Sir, from CSAI.
Okay, so I have Nikhil now, and we have 5 shepherds. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, Nikhil, I will make you a co-host because there is some problem with Sikka broadband here. They are doing some weird thing. My lecture actually got cut in middle in the previous session because they started doing something. Yeah, I only have that here, right? I mean Sikka, and there is one more broadband that I have. I live in a very deserted place, so uh, अरे कुछ किसने someone has written a comment which I have not read. Sankalp, don't worry. It's not like you will not get marks, okay? That is what I'm saying. Don't be worried. Uh, I'm just trying to instigate you guys, right, to speak. Uh, I am not really a person to deduct so many marks. So you will get a chance, okay? Just remind me tomorrow. You will get some marks. Uh, so I mean, I have a very simple saying to all my students every time. Like, number मेरे घर से नहीं जाते हैं, okay? So I don't get anything from deducting your marks. My life will not be affected at all. So so I will give as many marks as possible to you all. It's just that I have to maintain certain standards, otherwise the authorities will kick me. So anyhow, so we have 5 shepherds now, and we are going to start. This is the I'll just delete these things. Okay, let me keep it here. I'll discuss it later. So there is some code at the bottom of the document I'm going to share. Don't worry about it as of now. We will discuss it if required. Otherwise, you don't have to worry about the code. Just discuss the questions. Can you guys see my screen now? Shepherds. Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
yes, sir. We
So
can.
let's start quick. Okay. Let's start with the first question.
So while loop, so we put condition while loop when we enter the loop. Is while loop is a entry control loop, so we have to put a condition first and then we enter the loop. and whereas do while loop checks the condition after the loop ended. So, it is also an exit control loop. So first the condition is first the statement is run and then the condition is checked in the do while loop.
Also, the basic difference between both of them is when we need to execute the loop at least for one time, then we will use do while loop. But in while loop, it will not, if we do, it will not be executed any time if the condition is not satisfied. So the basic difference between both of them is the do while executed at least one time.
Any queries related to?
Any queries, guys? Please ask.
So we are assuming that no one has no queries.
Yeah, that is a good question. Would any of the shepherds like to answer this? This might be a, I mean, this is the last question, by the way, Gyan, question 4, I guess. But still, if any one of you would like to answer it now, we can start.
And
So, sir, do we have to compare the usage of while loop against or do while?
Usage, see, we'll discuss for tomorrow. But the idea is that these are three different tools to do the same thing, right? Now, it is possible that you probably liked while more than do while, or for more than while, whatever it is, right? It's up to you. The idea is that there are the languages that are there, they provide you these three different ways. As I've already written, you can write any logic using any of these three loops. It's not like one particular loop is deficient in certain cases. Even with even with a do while loop, if you put a condition before that, if you put an if condition before that, you can prevent the do while loop from executing the one time that we were discussing, right? So all these loops are basically equivalent. It's more of a programming style. You'll have your own programming style in sometimes. So programming is mostly an art, let me tell you. Okay, it's not really that much of engineering, it's an art. So all these are tools available to you. I'm not asking you to compare them, but yes, for certain situations, certain loops might seem more natural. That is the only thing, right? It doesn't mean that you cannot use the other loop. You can always use the other loops, but for certain situations, and this is what will happen when you start writing a lot of code, that you will know the situation. Okay, this is what I have to do, and instantly you will start with one of these loops. Okay. So that will happen with practice. There, don't worry about it as of now. So no, you don't have to compare anything with each other, but you should understand the the idea behind all these three, like while and do while. How do they differ from each other? This you should understand. And the flow, how does the flow work, right? So we will discuss it tomorrow. For has a very typical kind of a flow, the for loop, that we will discuss tomorrow. But while and do while are very simple loops. So yeah, Kirti has some question. Let us start with it.
okay, sir, I would like to answer the Kirti Goel question. Uh, uh, if a variable is initialized in the body of a loop, then can we use this variable outside the loop? No, we can't use the variable outside the loop. We have a something called what we say brackets can.
Gyanendra has written it. You can read it.
Hello, is my voice is coming, sir?
Yeah,
Hello?
Gyanendra has written the word that you are looking for.
Yes, scope. हाँ, so we have a word called scope. सर मैं हिंदी में बोल लूँ सर.
बोल लीजिए.
तो स्कोप का मतलब होता है कि अपन जो ब्रैकेट्स होते हैं ना, जो अपन फॉर या फॉर लूप या इफ जो भी अपन यूज करते हैं, तो if we declare any variable inside that scope, then we can't use it outside that scope. That is square braces we curly braces we call.
पुलकित आपका वॉइस ब्रेक हो जा रहा है। कोई और एनी अदर शेफर्ड कैन ट्राई इट आउट। हेलो। ओके, so yeah, so maybe the problem is it with me, or I thought Pulkit's voice was breaking in between.
Pulkit voice was fine, sir.
Sorry guys, so it is Sikka. So yeah, go ahead Pulkit.
So I've told them, sir. So any doubts regarding that scope?
So it looks like there is a audio problem, is it?
No, sir, nobody was speaking. That's why I think no audio.
Sir, am I
Okay,
audible?
and I thought
Hello.
my connection gone again. Uh, okay, so yeah, who was it who asked? I guess it was Kirti. Kirti, is your query resolved?
Yes, sir, but I have a doubt. What is difference between code block or scope?
Code block and
Scope.
scope. Now it is basically a variable. So scope is related with a variable. I say uh, the scope of this variable is within this code block. This is what I say. Okay. So code block is the actual code. Scope is visibility. Where exactly is a particular variable visible? Visible मतलब जैसा मैं आपको बता दूं कि आप अगर मान लीजिए कोई कोड लिख रहे हो और एक वेरिएबल आपने यूज किया है, वो वेरिएबल कहाँ-कहाँ पे दिखेगा, वहाँ कहाँ-कहाँ पे आप उसको यूज कर सकते हो, उसको स्कोप बोलते हैं। ओके। और
Okay,
कोड
sir.
ब्लॉक्स जो आप ये ब्रेसेस के अंदर लिखते हो, एक ब्लॉक एक सेट ऑफ ब्रेसेस मतलब ओपनिंग और क्लोजिंग ब्रेसेस के बीच में जो कुछ लिखते हो उसको कोड ब्लॉक बोलते हैं। तो होता क्या है, 90% ऑफ केसेस में जो वेरिएबल आप जिस कोड ब्लॉक के अंदर बनाओगे वो उसी कोड ब्लॉक के अंदर विजिबल होगा। अभी बाकी एक कुछ और वेरिएबल्स होते हैं जो हम बाद में बात करेंगे, बट अभी आप यही समझ लीजिए कि एक कोड ब्लॉक के अंदर कई सारे वेरिएबल्स होते हैं और वो उसी कोड ब्लॉक के अंदर विजिबल होते हैं, उसके बाहर नहीं होते हैं। ठीक है कीर्ति?
Okay, sir.
Sir, I want to ask something too. Sir, if we are using for loop, मतलब sir loop inside loop, so sir, can we use that initial variable loop?
Yeah, yeah, scope thing will be there itself. So if you initialize something in an inner loop, it will be accessible within the inner loop only. But if you initialize it in the outer loop, it will be accessible in the inner loop.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
मतलब तो अपन मतलब पहले फॉर लूप में अगर मैंने आई इनिशियलाइज करा तो उसके अंदर जो एक और लूप लिखा है उसके अंदर भी आई इनिशियलाइज कर सकते हैं।
आई इनिशियलाइज कर सकते हो, आप इनिशियलाइज कर सकते हो। आप समझ रहे हो, इनिशियलाइजेशन दूसरी चीज है, मतलब कि वो तो आप उस वैल्यू को चेंज कर रहे हो, राइट? कि आप फिर से आई को एक नई वैल्यू दे दो।
नहीं सर, मतलब सर मैं उसी फॉर लूप मतलब उसी लूप के अंदर मतलब जो सेकंड लूप है इनसाइड वो अंदर वाला उसके अंदर भी वो वेरिएबल इस्तेमाल कर सकते होंगे लूपिंग के
हाँ
लिए।
बिल्कुल यूज कर सकते हो, आप वो वेरिएबल इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो, लेकिन जैसे आप उसको आप अम, इस देखो, इस्तेमाल यूज करना अलग चीज होती है और नया वेरिएबल क्रिएट करना अलग चीज होती है। ठीक है? तो जब आपने अगर कोई नया वेरिएबल इनर लूप में, अंदर वाले लूप में कोई नया वेरिएबल बनाया है, वो वेरिएबल बाहर के लूप में एक्सेसिबल नहीं होगा। बाहर के लूप में कोई वेरिएबल बनाओगे, तो वो अंदर के लूप में एक्सेसिबल होगा। क्योंकि वो कोड ब्लॉक जो है, मतलब कहने का ये है, आपके वेरिएबल का स्कोप उसके नियरेस्ट जो जिस कोड ब्लॉक के अंदर होता है उसी के अंदर मिलता है वो। ठीक है? तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि मान लीजिए आपके दो कोड ब्लॉक्स हैं, एक आउटर कोड ब्लॉक है, एक इनर कोड ब्लॉक है। जो इनर कोड ब्लॉक में आप वेरिएबल बनाओगे वो इनर ब्लॉक में ही रह सकता है। जो आउटर कोड ब्लॉक में बनाओगे उसको वो इनर यूज वो इनर में यूज हो सकता है, क्योंकि वो इनर वाला एक्चुअली आउटर का सबसेट हो गया एक तरह का, ठीक है ना? क्योंकि आपको मेरा पॉइंट समझ में आ रहा है, मुझे समझ, क्योंकि मैं
यस सर।
कुछ रुकिए, मैं आपको यहाँ पे लिख के दिखा रहा हूँ, बट आई विल जस्ट शो यू इन द वर्ड फाइल something like this. So if you have something like for whatever it is, I'm not writing the whole thing. So this is one for, and you made something like this, int I equal to 0, something here. Now here you do something like for int j equal to 0, whatever it is, and then you do this. Now you cannot do something like this here. This is not possible. Okay, this is small j, because this j is visible only in this code block here. Okay, this j is visible only here, but I is visible here. You can use I equal to 5 or something like that. This is legal. Why? Because I scope starts from here and it runs up to here. J's scope starts here and it ends here. Now is it clear what is scope?
सर मतलब मैं ऐसे पूछना चाहता हूँ सर, ये इंट जे लिखा है ना सर, अपन इसकी जगह इसके अंदर भी इंट आई बराबर से चालू कर दें।
इसकी जगह पे int I लिख दो, आप ये कह रहे हो?
हाँ
हाँ, तो उसको क्या होता है बेसिकली, सो आई हैव नॉट डिस्कस्ड दीज थिंग्स। सो बेसिकली आप ये कर सकते हो। उसमें होता क्या है, ये डिपेंड करता है अलग अलग कंपाइलर्स पे। कुछ कंपाइलर्स इस पे प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर देंगे, वो बोलेंगे कि यहाँ पर ऑलरेडी आई विजिबल है इसलिए आप यूज नहीं कर सकते हो। कुछ कंपाइलर्स में ऐसा होगा। कुछ कंपाइलर्स में वो कह देंगे ठीक है, आपका जो आय है, ये जो दूसरा वाला आय है, वो प्रीवियस आय के स्कोप को ओवरराइड कर रहा है। ओवरराइड मतलब इस नए लूप के अंदर जो भी आप यूज करोगे आय, वो ये वाला आय होगा, इंटरनल वाला आय। तो कुछ कंपाइलर्स उसको अलाउ कर देते हैं, लेकिन ये दोनों आय अलग अलग वेरिएबल हो जाएंगे, ठीक है? अंदर वाला आई और बाहर वाला आई, ये दोनों अलग अलग हो जाएंगे। कुछ कंपाइलर्स इसको अलाउ कर देते हैं। कुछ कंपाइलर्स जो थोड़ा ज्यादा स्ट्रिक्ट होंगे, वो आपको एरर दे देंगे। वो कहेंगे कि नहीं, ये वाला दिस आई इज ऑल, सो आई इज ऑलरेडी विजिबल एट दिस पॉइंट, इस तरह का एक एरर आपको आएगा। तो ये आपका कंपाइलर डिपेंडेंट है कि उसमें एग्जैक्टली क्या होगा। लेकिन जो अलाउ करेंगे भी, उनमें भी जो सेकेंड लूप वाला आय होगा, यानी कि यहाँ पे अगर आप आय बनाते हो, वो आय इस आय से डिफरेंट होगा। अब आपको थोड़ा पॉइंट समझ में आ रही है कि आप कुछ कंपाइलर्स में ये कर सकते हो, कुछ कंपाइलर्स में शायद ये लीगल होगा ये करना। जो थोड़े स्ट्रिक्ट कंपाइलर्स होंगे वो अलाउ नहीं करेंगे इसको, वो मना कर देंगे, वो आपको सिंटैक्स एरर दे देंगे यहाँ पर कि आई इज ऑलरेडी विजिबल, इस तरह का कुछ एरर आपको आएगा। कुछ कंपाइलर्स होते हैं जो थोड़े से इतने स्ट्रिक्ट नहीं होते, तो वो हो सकता है आपको अलाउ कर दें। इज इट क्लियर पुलकित?
यस सर क्लियर सर। तो लेकिन अगर अलाउ कर दिया तो फिर सर वो आई मतलब डिफरेंशिएट कैसे करेंगे मतलब?
वो आई डिफरेंशिएट आप नहीं कर सकते। वही तो मैं बताया ना कि बेसिकली होता क्या है, देयर इज समथिंग नोन एज, okay, we are going into different directions. So so I think in C they have no way to do that. In C++ we have a scope resolution operator, and there are other ways to do it. You can use the there is a dot operator. So
डबल
in
कोलन?
हाँ, वही स्कोप रेजोल्यूशन ऑपरेटर। सो बट इवन दैट विल एक्चुअली गो टू द ग्लोबल आई, and I have not told you what global variables are. So let us don't go in that direction. अभी आप सिर्फ इतना मान करके चलो, because it will be confusing for you also. Try to keep your variable names as different for different loops. Okay, this will be easier for you. At least in the beginning of your programming, you will not get confused, because this is something that is dependent on your compiler, whether it allows you to create to override the scope or not. That is compiler dependent, that is language dependent. Okay, the idea of scope is something that is universal phenomenon, but each compiler will have different way of handling scopes. So that is something that you should not really. कीर्ति, आपका कुछ क्वेश्चन है, आप पूछ सकते हैं। ओके, सो so don't worry too much about scope. The idea of scope is that when you write programs, you will have to know how your compiler works. Okay, so in C, the scoping thing is far more strict, right? So my gut feeling says that in C it will not allow you to do this. Okay, so it will give you an error. This is what I feel. But again, because GCC has evolved so much, it is possible that maybe even this is now acceptable. But as I said, the idea is this I and this I, the wait a minute, this I and this I, they are two different I's. Even in the compilers which allow you this, these two will be two different variables. They are not the same variables. Okay. VS Code is not a compiler, Uddhav. VS Code, you will be attaching it with some compiler, right? So it will be GCC, right? So you'll have to see that whether it is acceptable in GCC or not. I don't know. Yeah. So that is what I said, right? Because the newer compilers, they allow you to override the scope. Override as in, so now there is, if you declare I here, okay, there is no way for you to access this I. This is the problem, right? Because you have overridden the scope of this I. This is the problem. If you want to assign a value to this I, you cannot do it here now. This is the idea. This is the problem. Okay. So as I said, this is something related to different compiler implementations. How do they handle scope? Okay, different languages will have it differently. uh, Actually, with Java, this is better because Java has one implementation, right? So with C you have different implementation. In Turbo C++ it will be different, maybe in Borland C++ it might be different. GCC it might be different. So that is why C, because C is a platform dependent language, it is difficult to really comment on how scope will be handled by your compiler. You will have to run and check whether it is allowed in your compiler or not. But the idea is, even if it is allowed, these two are two different variables. Okay, please, is it clear to everyone? These two are two different variables, even if your compiler allows it. But as I said, for beginners, never try to do this. It will be confusing for you. Okay, so there are so many characters out there. Pick a different character. If you are starting with I, so I have this thing, right? I intuitively would say I, and then I will go to int j, int k, int l, right? So this is how I will write loops. I never use the uh, same variable for an inner loop. So make this a habit. Use this IJK kind of thing. Oh, sorry, Sahil. What was your question? Uh, okay. And again,
I
so
was
yeah, go ahead.
I was asking like that if we initiate something after one code block, can we use that inside that code block?
No,
Can
sir.
we use that?
Like
You
if I have written a code block and after that code block I have initiated something like int a, so
huh?
can I use that a? So sir, can I am saying that I have initiated something like int a after one code block. So can I use that in the code block before the initialization?
No, we can't, sir.
So again, right? Either it's my problem or I mean, I could not hear Sahil properly. Uh,
I can't.
Am I audible?
yeah, something keeps breaking. That was the problem. Yeah.
कोड
Uh,
ब्लॉक स्कोप में डिफरेंस वापस बता.
Acha, okay. So code block and scope ka issue hai, right? That is what people are not able to understand. So it is like this. This is a code block. It starts with one brace here and it ends at here. This is a code block. Now code blocks can be hierarchical. Hierarchical as in there can one code in within one code block I can have multiple code blocks. So this is a kind of uh, child code block of this parent code block. Okay. So whatever happens in child remains inside the child. That is what you have to understand. Okay. So if I declare a variable inside child, it remains inside child. Okay, it is not shared with your parent. So this is how children are, right? They don't share anything with their parents. But whatever you do in the parent, it gets shared with the with the children. Okay, so if you create a variable here, if you do something like int d here, d is visible here. You can do d equal to 5 here. That is possible. Why? Because this code block is a parent of this code block. Okay, so whatever is available in the parent, that is available to the children, but whatever is available but whatever the children create, it is not available in the parents. That is the idea, right? And this is where scope comes. So what the scope means, that if I create a variable here, okay, in this inner thing, so if I create a variable here, its scope is starting from this braces and runs up to this braces. If I create a variable here, its scope starts from this bracket and runs up to this bracket, right? And because this inner for loop is inside this block, the scope of D is accessible here. So scope and code block, there is a difference between these two things. Is it getting clearer now? I can continue on this, don't worry. The idea of maybe I can send you something to read, probably, right? Maybe I'm not able to explain it properly. The idea is a code block is like it's like a house, okay? So so within your house, if you might have rooms, right? So currently you might be in a room. It's something like this, that something that belongs to a room, it cannot be shared with people in other rooms, something like this. But something that belongs to the house, that is accessible to everyone, right? So maybe kitchen is accessible to all people, but your your room's furniture is only accessible to you. So that is the idea. The house is the outer code block, the room is the inner code block. So whatever you declare in the inner code block, its scope is within that inner code block, and whatever you declare in the outer code block, its scope is also accessible to the inner code blocks. Is it getting clearer now, guys? Whomsoever asked me to repeat it, that person, who was it? Is it getting clearer?
A little bit, sir, but not
Acha,
yet.
acha. So then let me give you a simple example. Let us start with some example here. In fact, let me open up this Vim, because this word doesn't help me much. Vim test.c. I'm sharing a different window now. Mm. Uh, you cannot expand the scope, Nirmal. There's no way to expand the scope. You can actually create global variables. We have not talked about global variables. Once we have studied functions, I will tell you what global variables are. So it is possible to create a variable that is accessible to everyone. Okay, that is possible. So that is accessible to all the code you write, all the code blocks you create. It is possible to create such variables, but it is not possible to create custom scopes. Okay, yeah, so custom scope is not possible. Okay, so let me can you see my Vim screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, so it is something like this. So let us say I create a variable here, I equal to 5. Okay, and then I do for so if I do a printf I here, that is valid. Why? Even though, why? Because I, where exactly is I defined? I is defined in this code block. Okay, the one that is uh, that is in blue right now. Okay, so I belongs to this code block, and this code block is a sub code block of this outer code block. So scope is always associated with something, right? So there are two different things. Okay, code block and scope, they are two different things. As I said, code block is more of a space thing, right? So as I said, the example in the real world is a code block is either a house or a room. Okay, scope is whatever is accessible to you within some place. Okay, it could be, so it is, as I said, so it's like the furniture or the bed or whatever it is. What I'm trying to say is, if you have some furniture within a particular room, it is accessible only within that room and not outside the room. But let us say, if you have something within your house which is the part of your house, so we don't have it
Wi-Fi,
in.
sir. Wi-Fi. Something like Wi-Fi or something which is.
Wi-Fi. Very good, Shashwat. Very good. Thank you. I was going to give example of this centralized cooling, but yeah, Wi-Fi is the best example, right? So Wi-Fi belongs to your house. Okay, you take one Wi-Fi connection, and it is accessible to all the rooms, right? So basically, this is the kind of thing that basically I is the Wi-Fi. Okay, it is defined in the outer block, and so it is accessible here. But if I try to do this, percent e j, this is invalid. Why? Because my compiler doesn't know what is j here, because j was declared in this scope. And yes, j had a question that the scope always is it always about curly braces? um Unfortunately, no. So for example, here, even though the j thing is technically written outside this bracket, its scope is basically within this bracket. Okay, uh, in 90% of cases, scope is associated with braces. Sometimes there are, for example, in the cases of such cases. And this is why, let me give you a very simple analogy. In the original C, this was not allowed. Okay, you were supposed to declare all your variables on the top, and so then this issue was never there. Okay, but in C++, they allowed declaring variables anywhere. And then the C compilers also picked it up. So now you are allowed to do this in C, and this is why it is just, it is getting confusing. In the original C, you were supposed to declare all the variables at the top, where I, so you this was actually invalid in the original C. Okay, so anyhow, uh, so is it getting clear now why is this not allowed? Because this J belongs to this block, but this is allowed because this I belongs to this block. Okay, so you are allowed to share Wi-Fi in all the rooms, but only the person who's staying in that room can access that furniture. Something like that. Is it getting clear now? Whomsoever asked the question. This is the idea of scope.
Yes, sir.
And don't worry much about it. As I said, we are not really becoming C experts. We are trying to learn programming. Wherever you have a doubt, just the best thing to do, as I said, is use different variables. Okay, don't make this int I, okay, or something like that. Then the scope problems will go away anyhow. But the or and another way to reduce your scope problems is to go back to the original C. Okay, declare all your variables on the top, so then you don't need to do this. Okay, so these are some of the tricks with the help of which you can avoid pitfalls, because as I said, this is compiler dependent. Whether you can write int I here or not, this is compiler dependent. Some compilers will allow you, some compilers will not allow you to hide the scope. So whenever you are writing simple programs, try to use different variables. So when I write, during my placement time, when we used to write code, I will leave some space on the top of my paper. Okay, and I will add variables on the top. Okay, so then there is no way anyone can ask me even questions about scope because all the variables have scope throughout the program. So these are some of the hacks that you can use. So anyhow, is it clear, guys? shall we discuss this more, or shall we leave it and go with the loops word? Who asked me the question about scope and
Sir, I asked.
yeah? Is it clear now what is happening here?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
And do this. See, I may not be explain everything in the 1 hour lecture. This is why I give you those code examples. Okay, download those code examples and play with them as in change something in the example, compile it again, see what happens. Okay, see if it gives you an error, see if the output is not as expected. If you cannot get the explanation for some weird output, then you can ask me on the email. But this is the idea why I am giving you these code examples, because I expect you to download them. You have to change them whatever way you want. What happens? Okay, so try out such questions, to see how scope works. Build up your own understanding. But the problem here, as I said, is the understanding you will gain will be for this particular compiler only. This is why I am not going into the details of scope, because it is quite possible that whatever you learned, if you go to some other C compiler tomorrow, that thing may not work. Okay, the safest thing to do therefore in C is declare everything here. Okay, declare J here like this, then this is not required. So this is a hack that if you want to be a good programmer, try to track your variables at the top. That will just remove all your problems. Okay, let's just go back to what we were discussing. So okay, so Arunim, I'm not sure whether it is applicable in C or not. This is basic because the scope resolution operator is in C++ only. From what I know, it might be included in the new GCC versions. Um, Scope, yes, yeah, sure. Scope affects memory, as in. So I have not talked about what stacks are, but uh, so for now you can expect, yes, scope affects memory. Just assume that. So basically, a particular variable, its scope is, so what happens is beyond that particular uh, point in your program, that variable can be destroyed as in it might not be available to you any longer. So it is up to the actual implementation what happens with it, whether the memory gets freed, whether it is kept, that is implementation related things. Okay, so it's a bit difficult to explain this question to you now. You'll have to study more to understand. uh no, inside a loop. So it's like this. What happens is, as Shore asked, um, usually what it should do is that if you initialize a variable if you create a variable inside a loop, um, as soon as the loop ends, so one iteration of the loop ends, that variable is destroyed as in its memory is technically, in theory at least, it is free. Now whether it actually gets freed or not, that depends on your compiler. Okay, but it is usually a poor idea to declare variables inside a loop. Sometimes we do. It's not like we don't do. I mean, we do use it, because if we want a particular variable to be only accessible within the loop, it makes sense to declare it within the loop and leave it to the implementation how to manage the space. Okay, that is the best thing. Just leave it to the implementation. um,
Sir,
yeah.
sir, sir, like when declare a variable, we
Mhm,
actually say that in this location we will put whatever value we give to the variable, right?
mhm, mhm,
Then when we declare the same inside a loop,
mhm.
and the loop runs again, will in different loop the same variable will be provided or that same location? That was
No,
my
no, no,
doubt.
no, nothing like that. There will be a different location. There will be a different space. This is what you should understand. That that is what I said. That particular memory is freed. If you declare a variable inside a particular loop, some memory is reserved. That memory is used till your loop is not over, and after that, that memory is freed. Now, the actual implementation might do it something differently. Okay, so there is something known as loop optimization. Okay, so your machine might try to optimize certain space. So if it realizes that this variable is going to be used again and again, it might do certain optimization, but that optimization you don't have to know, you don't have to worry about it. For you it is a different variable every time the loop runs. Okay, it is a different location. Is it what your question was?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay, it
okay.
got clear.
Uh, uh, yeah, I have a lot of things on the chat. Guys, if you have a query, please ask me. Um, actually, I should not have answered. See, this is the problem with me. I take all the limelight from the shepherds, and you guys have to stop me.
So,
Okay, somehow.
so,
Yeah.
so Sahil Hussain had a question, and I would just like to answer that. If you put a semicolon after while, it is declaring that there is no statement after while, so it goes to the next statement, which is your I minus minus, and it will be executed outside the loop, not inside it. So what you want is not what you're getting. That is why.
Yeah, sorry guys, any so especially sorry to the shepherds. Yeah, you can, I guess we can take 4 more minutes up to 120 and see if we have any more questions. Any more questions in general about while or do while? Please ask it right now. Okay, and the shepherds will answer. We will move to for tomorrow. That is why. Uh, okay, we can have the same shepherds. I don't have a problem. I want to pick at least someone randomly, right? Otherwise, how will I tease you guys? Uh, so, but it's okay. We can have the same shepherds. Gyanendra has a question. Oh yes, Gyanendra. So, would any of the shepherds like to answer this query? Gyanendra has a question. First of all, let me rephrase it, Gyanendra. It is not necessary. Let me rephrase the question. Whether where do while is preferable, that is the question. Necessary is there is nothing like necessary. You can do anything with any of the loop, but his question is where do while is preferable. That is the question.
So a situation in which we need at least the statements is written inside the loop to be executed at least once for some specific criteria that will depend upon the program that we are creating. For example, in one of your videos, you showed when we want to find out the factorial of a number, we take we write a do while loop to take the input so that the user inputs a positive number. As soon as the user inputs a positive number, we exit the do while loop. So therefore, if a user keeps on entering a negative number, the loop keeps on executing again and again. Therefore, the loop will execute technically all the time because it needs to be because of the type of program we are creating. It will depend upon context to context. For example, it will totally depend upon the conditions that we have.
Yes, you can add over it if you want.
I guess in do while and while, of course, like in second point in the slide, you have, it's already written that which loops what will be executed at least once. So we need do while when we at least have to execute once, and sometimes while getting an input or finding anything when we are trying to take input from user, in while we have to initialize. So sometimes, not sometimes, we have to initialize a variable or anything like integer. Oh, like if I'm taking input of is, let's say I, then I'm taking I have to first initialize I equal to something and something. But in do while you can take directly input from user and that's what it is.
Yeah, this was probably the best answer I could say, because what happens is, Gyanendra, many a times you will write this kind of code where you would like some code to run first. The simplest example is where you are going to take some input from the user, and if only the input is invalid, then you would like to do something. Okay, you would probably like to retake the input, you will probably like to tell the user that something is wrong, kind of stuff. So this is where do while is a good choice, because at least your code will run once, so you have the option of allowing user to give you an input, and then you can do all types of stuff on your input, whether you want to go back in the loop. So this is the in my opinion, this is the best use of do while. And I'll also tell you where these kind of do while loops are implemented in the real world. You hear these IVRS messages, right? The first time you call up some customer care, they'll say press 1 to do this, press 2 to do this, press 3 to do this kind of stuff, right? So they'll tell you the menu straight away. Now if you inputted a wrong input, so they'll say, no, sorry, this is a wrong input, or you did not input anything, and then the whole thing gets repeated again, right? So this is a kind of do while loop, that the messages were played to you on the phone. You now selected an input. If the input is valid, they will do something else. If the input is invalid, the whole message will be replayed to you. Okay, so this is an example from the real world where you need something like a do while loop. With while loop, if you want to do the same thing with while loop, you'll basically say the first input from the user is 1, for example, or something like that, right? Something that is legal to go inside the loop. So this is where do while is a good option. Sometimes you actually like to use do while. Okay, so I guess we have.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
sir, can we consider a situation like we want the user to enter like password for any kind of authentication only once?
So what is your question?
Sir, sir, like the Gyanendra asked the question that any real life
Mhm.
situation. So can we consider the situation where we want the user to enter a password only once, like in OTP or like those
Mhm.
situations?
Mhm.
I guess then
Mhm.
we will use if, sir, right?
Yes. So then you will use, if you will not use a loop, right? Loop is basically the place where you would like to do something multiple times. If it is a single time, why would you use a loop?
Okay, sir.
Uh, like loop is basically uh, for repeated processing. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So guys, I think we have run out of time. If you have any more queries on while and do while, of course, I want you guys to play with it using your own imagination. Okay. And this is very important. Okay. What we cannot cover the complete uh, programming space in just 3 hours of time every week. This is why offline learning is very important. You have to learn on your own. And if you get stuck, if you have a query, so I'm very happy I keep getting these mails where students send me screenshots of the code saying, sir, that we wrote this and we are getting this, why are we getting this? Okay, I'm very happy to explain all of this. I try my best, because sometimes even my knowledge may not be up to date with the current version of GCC, but I try my best to explain all those things. So try all those things. Write some loops, write some do while loops. If you get stuck somewhere, or there is a behavior that you simply cannot understand, take the and by the way, you don't have to click a picture with your mobile phone to take screenshots, right? There will probably be a button on your laptop to take print screen. Okay, yeah, some students, unfortunately, it's okay, don't have to laugh. Don't feel inferior to the others. I'm just telling you, okay. There are ways to capture your screen. Don't feel inferior. I'm not. Uh, Please, sorry if it looked like I am trying to tease you. It is not that. Okay, so please don't take it as an insult. Um, the idea I'm trying to tell you is that there are ways to uh, take your screenshot. Okay, different operating systems have different ways to do it. It's just that so in Windows XP, let me tell you what used to happen was, in Windows XP there was nothing really to capture the screen. So what we used to do was, but there was this, the what print screen key would do is, it will capture your screen, but nothing would happen. So then you do print screen, then you open MS Paint, and then you do Control V, and your screen will be pasted there. Okay, this is in Windows XP. Most of you may not have even seen Windows XP. But anyhow, I'm pretty sure today the operating systems have some way of taking a screenshot.
Sir, in Windows 10, we can do Windows Shift S, and then we can take a print screen.
Right, good. In Mac, by the way, there is a screenshot utility, right? If you open command space and then type screenshot, you can either collect the screenshot of the whole screen or even a particular part of your screen. So in Mac, you can do this. There is a screenshot utility that is there.
Yes, sir. Shift Command 3 for
Yeah.
Mac.
Yeah. So there is a screenshot utility itself, and as someone said, there is a shortcut Shift Command 3. So the point is just learn these things. Okay, don't feel offended. I was not trying to offend anyone. But please learn how to take screenshots. Okay, it will be good for you. Okay, so anyhow, go write code. Um, you are now in that phase. Once you have learned loops, let me tell you, once you have learned loops, in theory there is pretty much nothing that you cannot do now. Okay, almost all the programs that I can give you, you can do it using loops. Okay, so now you should start practicing. I am working on a practice set. I have also asked my friends at IIT Kanpur to see what kind of questions they are being given there, right? So that I can check that and create questions for you. So I'm working on it. Okay, don't worry. I will try to give you a practice set, but till then you have the textbook. Okay, in the Balaguru Swami book, there are some programming questions after each chapter. So go and try it out. If you cannot solve a question, I am there. Okay, this is how I learned programming. I learned programming by solving all the exercises that I could ever get in any book. So wherever I used to find a question for writing program, I will simply write it. So this is how you should learn it as well. Okay, wherever you find a exercise which says write a program to do blah blah blah, even if it is from a different chapter altogether which you have not even learned, okay, try to write it with whatever you know. As I said, with if conditions and loops, you can basically do almost everything that you can. Okay, the programs will be longer, they might be inefficient, but still you can write a program. So start writing code. Okay, and if you get stuck, I am there always. And programming is a very logical thing. The moment you get a hang of it, you will love programming. Let me be very frank. Okay, so take yourself in that mode where your mind starts behaving like a computer. Okay, so we will talk tomorrow, guys, and we will discuss for. If you have any more queries on while, send it to me over email. Okay? So, and I hope everyone has put the attendances. If you put your attendance in the morning, you have to put it again. Let me be very frank. Those attendances I have removed, so you have to put them again. Okay, and thank you, guys. We will meet tomorrow. Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.